Hi, everyone. This is Anya Goldsby here with Black Esquire LLC. Today, I have a special guest with me, Steve Schwartz of LSAT Unplugged. Steve, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. So I wanted to bring you on because I've been seeing you all over Instagram and YouTube posting some amazing videos and tips about the LSAT. And I've been working with a lot of students that have a lot of questions about the LSAT. And me, I don't consider myself an LSAT expert, but I definitely look forward to talking to you. And hopefully you can answer some of the questions that I have and some of my students have about the LSAT coming up.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad to help. Thanks again for having me.
Awesome. So one of the first questions I wanted to talk about and really focus on today is the digital format of the LSAT. I think a lot of students are confused. They don't know what to do and they don't know how to prepare for it. So just simply, Steve, what is the digital format of the LSAT?
Yeah, sure. So LSAC this year, 2019, they've rolled out the digital LSAT pretty quickly, actually. The first rollout was in July, where half of students got the digital format, half got the paper, just as a transitional month for them to test things out. But going forward this fall, it is fully digital in North America. It's being administered on a tablet, a 10-inch Microsoft Surface Go specifically. And so anyone taking the LSAT in North America going forward is going to want to familiarize themselves with this new format.
Okay, so that answers one of my questions. So it appears that LSAC is actually providing the tablets for the students. And specifically, you said it was a Microsoft Surface 10?
Surface Go 10-inch.
Surface Go 10-inch. Okay, see, I know nothing about tablets. So anyone out there listening, you may want to pick one of those up or go to one of your nearest Best Buys and test that out. So that way you know exactly how that works. So Steve, once they go into the test center and they're ready to go, what happens? Are they still giving the questions in a booklet? Do they have options to use scrap paper? Because specifically, the way LSAT has traditionally been taught is to diagram things out. And so if students are doing things digitally on a tablet, do they have that same opportunity?
Yeah, it's tricky. So the tablet situation is that you cannot draw on the tablet itself, which is kind of counterintuitive maybe, but it's just due to how they have locked down the security of the device. Instead, students can diagram on a separate booklet of scratch paper of about 12 to 14 pages, which is really more than enough. So they'll be going back and forth between the scratch paper where they're writing by hand and then the tablet where they're tapping with a stylus or with their finger.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And when they submit their answers, is it a very clear button where you hit submit? Do you see other questions while you're answering one question? What does it look like?
Yeah, sure. So it narrows your focus to one question at a time. You can bubble in on the question or at the bottom, there's a navigation bar so you can see what you've completed. And it's all submitted electronically. Every 10 seconds or so, it syncs up with this hub device in the room. And so it's all submitted immediately, automatically. And then at the 35-minute mark, when the section is over, whatever you've submitted is done.
Got it. Got it. So one of the rumors, I suppose, was that when you take the digital format of the LSAT, that you have an opportunity to cancel your score before you get it. And I know that that was true for the June or July test. Is that still true for September, October, and November?
Sadly, that was just for July. That was a one-time thing to kind of ease the nerves around the transition. It was like an olive branch LSAC was extending folks. And maybe they'll do this in the future, but there's no word about that. So going forward, as far as we know, that was a one-time thing and you can no longer see your score before deciding whether to cancel. But it's not a big deal because law schools don't average multiple scores anyway.
Right, right, exactly. So that's something definitely important for you guys to pay attention to. One of the things I wrote about on my blog was specifically I think it was the June or July test where you had the opportunity to see your score first before you canceled it. So that is no longer an option. So Steve, is there any other tips that you would give any of my students or anyone out there studying for the LSAT specifically in this digital format?
Yeah, sure. And it's one of the things you mentioned earlier, actually, to practice on a tablet, to go to Best Buy or order one online. It doesn't have to be the Microsoft Surface Go specifically. Any tablet would be fine. So if folks have a Samsung or an iPad or their parents do, they could borrow it just for a couple of hours to at least work through one test in the digital format. LSAC has 3 on their site in the digital format currently at familiar.lsac.org. And so if students even wanted to order an Amazon Fire on Amazon and then return it after the test if it's not for them, that would be a way to at least go through the motions a little bit to get used to the different features and functionalities.
See, Steve's smart. He's giving you some great tips, guys, so I hope you're paying attention. Steve, before I let you go, how can my students and anyone out there get in touch with you to learn more about what you're doing with LSAT Unplugged?
Yeah, thanks so much. So again, I am on Instagram at LSAT Unplugged. I also host the LSAT Unplugged YouTube channel and podcast available on all the major podcast platforms. And I also run the LSAT blog where I have over 1,000 articles on everything LSAT and law school admissions. My focus is, of course, the LSAT, and I also have a variety of self-study materials and full video courses as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve, for being here today. I appreciate your time.